Hey everyone, welcome to another video. We're One Knee Falls. I'm Scott.
And I'm Christian. This week we're going to be talking about the albums that have really stuck with us through the years, and then we are going to walk you through how we create our music, from the recording right through to the mixing.
So like everything that makes us like who we are musically, like the stuff we like to how we create music.
Everything that goes into the One Leaf Falls cocktail, if you
Indeed,
like,
yeah.
and then basically brings out what we've been creating. Before we get into that, it would be a really big help if you could follow us on social media.
Yeah, on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. So following us or subscribing to us on there will be a great help to support what we're doing.
Yes, indeed. Okay, let's get into the video. So, albums that mean a lot to us or are close to our hearts,
Nice.
you could say.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting topic, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So, what album would you choose, Scott?
I could list quite a few albums. It's hard to choose just one.
I'm sure many of us could.
I would say probably Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park, because I used to fall asleep listening to that whole album years ago. It felt like probably for many years I was listening to that, I was falling asleep. But yeah, that album's just great. I always wished I could sing like Chester.
Yeah, a lot of
I
us did.
tried
lot
a
of us
few
did.
times. I tried a few times, but I just ended up screaming outside. It didn't work.
Only Winchester.
But yeah, that everything about that album was just perfect to me. It definitely gave me a lot of motivation and the urge to want to create music and like make a band and just get out there and play music and stuff. What about you then?
So that worked out quite well, then, didn't it?
It did.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, I can't pick one album,
No.
but I can narrow it down to two.
Okay,
That's
fine.
all right. So the first one is Park Life by Blur,
Cool.
which is mainly for Graham's guitar work,
Mm.
which I personally have always thought has been, really inventive and interesting.
Okay.
And obviously that appeals to me. I think you could perhaps argue it's not Blur's best album,
Okay.
but for what it meant to me when it came out, when I discovered it, it was just at the right time,
Yeah. I
and
know what you mean.
that's why it's such a big deal, really. And then the second one is Is This It by the Strokes.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
Which is obviously their debut album, come along
Great
a few
album.
years later. And that album really started to help me learn about having more than one guitar part, but not, them getting in the way,
Oh, yeah.
them being able to actually complement one another.
Yeah, and mixing well together.
And it's mixed well.
Like what we do.
You
yeah.
can listen to that album and you can pan one guitar one way and
Yeah,
one the other if
exactly,
you want. So
yeah.
you can learn all the parts individually, which
That's very useful.
I used to love doing that, yeah.
One of the interesting things about it's like the fact that we both have quite different genres in our background, like Britpop and new wave and stuff like that, and then there's more like rocks, pop punk, sort of new metal kind of style and stuff. And if you
Yes.
mix both of our influences together, you get One Leaf Falls. You get like
You
the
get
sort of
us.
the sort of stuff that we
Yeah.
write together is basically
Yeah.
all of our influences like mushed together to create something
It
new.
makes it quite interesting, doesn't it? Yeah.
Indeed.
You get those eclectic influences, and then what sort of comes in the middle of that
Absolutely.
we've got a mutual love and admiration for.
Absolutely. But yeah, going back to our favourite albums, like or albums in general, really. There's certain albums that they just stick with you over time, and
Yeah.
whenever you listen to like a song from that album, or you listen to that artist or that album, you're just transported back to when you first heard it. Like go back in time and just
You can't help
Yeah.
but attach memories
exactly
to that
Yeah.
album, can you?
Yeah.
And you might not necessarily want to if they're not good ones.
Yeah.
Hopefully they are. But music is very emotive, so it's bound to be a range of different emotions, I think.
But then there's obviously the sort of albums that you didn't fully appreciate at the time. Like you hear an album that like you missed for whatever reason, and you think, how did I miss this album? Or like you just didn't think you wanted to listen to it at the time. And
You
listen
didn't get
to
it.
now, yeah, and it's just like,
You didn't
wow,
get it.
okay, this is actually a great album. I can't believe I missed it.
And of course there'll be albums that you missed the first time round
Yeah.
because you were too young, or you weren't around, and you can discover those whenever.
Exactly.
And that's what's so great about music, isn't it? It just
Yeah, so it's
You know.
it's always good to hear like what albums other people are like what albums other people hold close to their hearts and stuff. So let us know in the comments if there's any albums that are close to your heart, and and just let us know any other albums that you think we should hear.
Yeah, are there any albums that you think we might be able to take inspiration from, or maybe remind you of us?
Absolutely.
We'd love to hear from you.
All right, let's talk about how we actually make music. Step 1, overthink everything.
Or just start recording.
Yeah, you could do that as well. So usually we start with like a rough demo. Usually like the guitars first and some very basic vocals.
Very
basic.
rough, scratchy vocals.
Yeah, and we build the foundation. So like, we've written the song and then we just record it. Get a foundation down. Basically.
Get a feel for what we're trying to create.
Yeah.
And then we layer in the bass and drums and basically anything else that we think feels right for that song.
Or anything that just sort of sounds cool in the moment. Sometimes you need a weird noise in the background, for example.
As long as it fits,
Yeah.
as long as it works,
Yeah.
Why not? Weird noises.
Yeah, I love weird noises.
As an example, I can't even remember who came up with the idea, it's probably you. We put a choir on, sometimes things don't work out.
Yeah.
Our own homemade choir.
Yeah, it's just us singing in falsetto.
Many times.
Yeah.
But
It's clever.
it seems to really work at that point in the song. So if you haven't picked up on that, then go back and have a listen, and then you can have a laugh at our homemade choir.
Yeah. And after that, mixing, which is the most fun part for me personally.
Yeah, obviously you spend a lot of time.
A lot of time, yes.
Lose yourself.
Yeah, we do. We tend to go down a bit of a rabbit hole in terms of like the EQs, compression, and how much reverb we want to put on like the guitar or things like that.
Protect my ears from getting fried.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Basically, but it's necessary.
Yeah,
Obviously,
you've got to listen to it quite a few times.
You've got to listen to it through. So, and obviously you'll get my feedback.
Yes, it's
whether you want it or not. And what we find is important is listening in as many places as possible.
Yeah.
So listen in headphones, earphones, listen on different speakers,
tiny
smart speakers,
big speakers.
Yeah.
Just everything in between.
and in the car.
Yes, the car especially.
And we usually find if it sounds good in the car,
Yeah.
then it will be consistently sounding pretty good everywhere else.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's very helpful to have a second set of ears when it comes to the mixing, because sometimes you'll hear something that I haven't noticed, or you'll suggest something that I wouldn't have thought of myself.
Yeah, we tend to work well like that, I think.
Exactly.
More likely to think of something or suggest something that the other wouldn't. I think overall it is a fun process.
It is.
It is labour intensive.
Yeah.
It can take some time, but
it's great fun though.
it's worth it. Sometimes there's quite a few mixes of a song, aren't there, before we
Version 22.
before we decide that actually this is right, this is it. We can't. If we change it again,
I'm sure a lot
then
of people have this same sort of process when they're creating music as well, and especially if they're doing their own mixing and mastering and all that. But yeah, it's I think one of the main things we've learned is the fact that simple is better.
Yeah.
It probably helps a lot of the time just to strip it back and just see what really works in the song.
Cliche alert: less is more very often.
Less is more. It just seems to work that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. So it's all about working out what is worth adding, what will add something to that song, what will make it better.
Fun process.
Or are you just throwing something else on there because you
think it should?
Because you think it might be a good idea.
It might not be needed.
And then inevitably it will get in the way of something else, or just
just have to strip it
upset
back and
the whole balance of the song.
What sounds good, and then just focus
equilibrium
on
will go.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, it can be frustrating, can't it?
Absolutely,
and we get there in the end.
We do. It's always fun.
Yeah.
And that's a little look at what shapes our music and how we put it all together.
Yeah, also quick update, we've been doing weekly videos.
3 so far.
But we are switching to fortnightly videos.
Yeah.
Which will give us more time to focus on writing and recording.
Yeah, so don't worry, we're not going anywhere. Just take a bit more time to make sure we put out some good music and good videos. So having more time between things is very beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So just a reminder that the Fragile Serenity EP is out now on all streaming platforms
Spotify, etc.
and YouTube.
Apple Music, Google Music,
So
Bandcamp.
please don't forget to subscribe, like, share.
Yeah, all that fun stuff. Yeah.
And then let us know in the comments what your favourite song is, as long as it's one that I came up with.
But yeah, also what albums you like as well, like the albums close to your heart, and any music or like albums you think we
Or
should
just
hear.
say hello if you want.
So there you go. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
So see you in 2 weeks.
See you later.